Welcome in to the Monday Morning Quarterback UK with your boys Ben, Dami, Kriski, and Bids. How are we doing today, boys?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, doing good.
Some of us
doing good.
How was some of us doing, Bids?
Yeah, I got COVID again. I don't even know what was going on. I was away for most of the weekend. Came back for the NFL. Started feeling a bit crap while we were there, and then busted again. I got 2 strong lines as well on the test. Strong lines. Like, you got COVID.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I hate to be those people that sat right next to you.
Directly next to him. If you lot are wondering why we're doing this online again, classic Bids.
It's not classic.
You're always ill, man.
No.
You're always ill, man.
Once every 2 years.
You're just an ill guy, man, every couple of weeks.
Nah.
Ben's trying it today. Ben is trying it today.
So we've had to do it online again. We will get one in person. It's been a rough start to the season, but we will get one in person soon.
Nah, I'll be next week. I'll be fine. No holidays. Should be calm.
But yeah, guys, I guess there's just one place to start then. Yesterday's game in person, NFL in London. How do we find it, boys? We have a good day?
Absolutely. It was just packed though. Like there was, it felt like it was just a regular Wembley England international game. It was packed, people everywhere, but it was just good vibes. We see shirts from all 32 teams. If we saw a lot of college shirts as well, people from all over the world. Yeah, it was great. Sucks to be a Falcons fan though.
I was saying this before. I always end up getting chatting to someone who's American every single time, and me, Dami, and Ailish were getting food. And what happens? We end up chatting to someone next to us, and she happens to be American, and she's there with like 5 Americans. I was like, of course.
Yeah,
hey, it was mad. I was on the tube over, and I think there was about a group of 6, 7 people from Atlanta that obviously come over for the game, and now thinking about it, boy, did they waste a lot of money. Because the Falcons were not good. But yeah, overall day was just epic. Like you say, atmosphere was absolutely awesome. Considering the game wasn't probably the best game that I've seen with the NFL coming over, but it was just still an unbelievable day. Like everyone's just loving just watching the football live in person. It makes it so much nicer actually getting to see the games in person and seeing some crazy plays like Trevor Lawrence was pretty awesome, not gonna lie.
Yeah, but if you say Trevor Lawrence was pretty awesome, Desmond Ridder was pretty awful. So yeah. I mean,
that boy hasn't got a clue.
No, he really hasn't. That's like I was saying to you guys yesterday that like I've only watched highlights of the Falcons this year. I've not really watched the game all the way through. So seeing that offense for the first time did not, fill me with confidence at all. Defense looked good, but Desmond Ridder, especially those 2 picks back to back, were just tragic. My God, so
it was quite hard to watch. He was quite hard to watch.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the team, Bijan was crazy.
Yeah, no.
Like every time he touched the ball, dangerous. Every time he touched the ball, seeing him actually break someone's ankles, just sending them flying, was so funny. Like he is actually that good. You see it on Red Zone, you're like, oh yeah, fair enough. Like he had space to do that, and you're like, oh no, he had no space to do that, and that man is fully on the floor. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Do you see the Toy Story Andy's room thing as well? They got a video of Bijan juking him in that as well, and it even looks bad in that.
Honestly, it was so
good. It looks terrible in the Toy Story clips.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's rough. Toy Story version, I must say, I was watching quite a few videos of it last night when we got home, and it was actually a really good watch.
I don't get it. I don't get why they did it, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm still not sure. Yeah, I'm still not sure. Yeah, great game. First one of the series. Yeah, very good. Enjoyed it.
What's up? What Bills? Isn't it Bills and Jags next week? Isn't it? But Spurs.
Yeah, Bills Jags next week. Yeah.
It's a shame we couldn't get tickets for all of them, but next year we have VIP tickets. be sitting in the box with OC.
Yeah, NFL
And
UK
Troy Deeney
sorting
for
us
some
out next
reason.
year.
I don't know why Troy Deeney was there.
He's
Strange.
just doing side missions, man. He's done. He's just doing side missions with his life.
I mean, yeah,
Maybe
Forest
he's-
Green.
You'll see
is a
Snoop.
side mission.
You know, you'll see Snoop Dogg in a box, like just here at Wembley. Just he's everywhere.
Especially when AJ was like the honorary captain. I was like, what
Yeah, I didn't
was he
get that.
doing? He's
Either.
there just
Yeah.
You know that boy.
Some
can't
people
throw
around
as
us-
well. Steve Brothers-
Some people around us actually booed him as well. I was so baffled.
wow.
People were actually booing Anthony Joshua. I was like, wow.
All right, then.
Jeez.
So let's
Talk
dive
to
into the
us.
rest of the week then. So what do we kicking off then? Unknown player performance of the week. So this week I'm going to turn the attention to the Houston Texans. So they got a big win. And I think the two standout players were wide receiver Nico Collins. So he actually finished the game 168 yards off just 7 receptions, including 2 touchdowns. So he was averaging 24 yards per play, which I think that's pretty bonkers. So yeah, he had an absolute stellar week. But obviously, everything that came from him was CJ Stroud. So it's kind of unknown player performance, but I know he's obviously very known, boys. I'm fully aware of that. But what I want to give him a shout out is he has actually just passed the record as the NFL rookie with the most passes without a pick yet. So he's thrown 151 passes, over 1,200 passing yards, and he hasn't thrown a pick yet in his NFL career. So
That's so crazy.
That's massive.
Everyone had the Texans struggling as well this year. Like all of us. I don't think anyone had the Texans coming anything higher than the bottom of that division.
No,
And they
definitely
actually looked dangerous. Like
And the rookie quarterback coming into that franchise, like you say, they've been poor the last few seasons, and then he's still putting up numbers like that as a rookie quarterback is pretty impressive. Like some of the quarterbacks he's overtaken in that list as well is huge, and he's actually on track to smash the rookie passing record of Andrew Luck back in 2012. So he's actually on track to hit over 5,000.
Wow.
Which
that Andrew Luck was crazy good. He just had no offensive line his whole career, so had to retire early. He got obliterated. He got obliterated his whole career. Yeah, he got absolutely rinsed. He got hit so much he had to retire. He retired at like 29.
It was early, wasn't it? But
yeah, he would have been on track to be. He was 100% going in the Hall of Fame, and there was like arguments that he would be like top 3 quarterback ever. Maybe top 4, top 5, definitely top 5. Yeah, if it had any kind of protection on his offensive line and been healthy, yeah, he would have balled out. But that is impressive from CJ Stroud.
Well, it's mad, isn't it? Because now you look at it, you're like, he went number 2 overall, Bryce went 1. I know obviously Bryce is looking a bit more of a long-term project there as well, but are you looking at that going, did we pick the wrong guy? What do you guys think?
I always had question marks over Bryce. But you go ahead, Dami.
I don't think you can say it was wrong to pick Bryce because Bryce was a top-notch quarterback at Alabama, right? Like the only issue with Bryce was his height. That was the only issue he had. It wasn't because he doesn't have the biggest arm. He doesn't have a Herbert arm, and he doesn't have the athleticism of a Justin Fields. But in terms of his quality as a quarterback, just throwing it in the pocket, there was absolutely no issues with his ability. So you can't say it was a mistake. The problem is that, yes, he is quite short, and the Carolina Panthers are just not very good. So that's the biggest issue. A lot of the time, it just comes to the environment you get drafted into, right? So the CJ Stroud's been brought into the Texans with a new coach, DeMeco Ryans, who's a very good defensive coordinator for the 49ers. He's clearly brought that defensive mind to the Texans. They've played very well against a really poor Pittsburgh Steelers team, and they've absolutely destroyed them. Now, CJ Stroud is very good, so we'll see if he continues that over the course of the season. But I think in terms of the performance yesterday, I wouldn't say it's a one-off, but you're not likely to see CJ Stroud lead his team to performances like that every week. That's just not going to happen. They just came up against a really poor Pittsburgh Steelers team.
Yeah, I think that's always the case when you've got a like a young team or a team that's built on a couple of like young talented players, you know, it would be the same. It's like the same with Desmond Ridder and Bijan Robinson. Like, it's like, okay, but you'll have games where you just kind of go missing. Literally just happened. Like, and DJ and we know Ridder is not necessarily that guy, but when you're that young, you're going to get found out against defensive coaches that know what they're doing. Like, you're going to get found out. I always had question marks over Bryce. We said it in a previous episode that he went number one. I don't think that's necessarily a bad decision, but I don't think it was a great decision, if I'm honest. I think giving up that much was probably the problem. If you just had the first pick, fine. But you gave up so much for it. I was like, who is he throwing the ball to? Like, who's helping him on both sides of the ball? Like, they've not been that bad, but they are 0-4. Like, they've been competitive in a couple of games, but I don't know. I think giving up that much is more my issue. Not that he went first overall. I mean, it's kind of toss up between him and CJ Stroud, but CJ Stroud actually seems to have weapons.
What did they give up for him?
Was it 2 first rounders and DJ Moore? Was it first and a second and DJ Moore? Can't remember. It was definitely a first rounder and another pick, but they gave up DJ Moore as well. I'll just double check.
Well, it's big, and you never know. Texans, they've got Falcons next week. Is that going to be another win? Go 3-2.
Easy game.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, CJ Stroud could be a little shout for offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, he's definitely leading the way. He got offensive player of the month, and it was.
Did he?
I guess he. Yeah. I think the only real competition was probably. I think they do opposite. Yeah, his only real competition was probably Bijan, maybe Puka. Well, I guess Puka as well. But yeah,
he's definitely one of the standout rookies, and especially from the quarterback position. I think only really Anthony Richardson has kind of done some pretty impressive stuff as a rookie quarterback this year. So, but I thought he was very key for a little shout out this week. Good old CJ Stroud. I think he's quietly going under the radar. The numbers he's putting up.
Oh yeah, 100%. He's definitely a bit underrated right now for what he's doing over there. They gave up 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and DJ Moore, and they gave up DJ Moore. Wow, that is insanely expensive.
That's huge. Wow,
insanely expensive.
So let's focus on a bit of the games in this week then. So I feel like it's going to go over to Ben's corner, and he's going to give us a little update on our fan favorites, the Colorado Buffaloes.
Yeah, Colorado Buffaloes update. So we've been talking about them every week. I'll give you another roundup of what happened at the weekend. So, like I said before, they were in LA playing 8th ranked USC. A lot of celebrities in attendance in this one again, as you probably expect, but I'll just reel a few off. So they had LeBron and Bronny. They had Jay-Z, Snoop, Lil Wayne, DJ Khaled, Matthew McConaughey, and Will Ferrell. Just to name a few.
Doing there?
For a college football game, they've got these big stars.
Now, admittedly, it is in downtown LA, so it's a little easier to get there for them, but still, it's a lot of celebrities in attendance at that one. So, huge game. It finished 48-41 to USC, but USC were up 48-27 at halftime. So, huge comeback from Colorado to keep it close. Like, they were a 22-point underdog. They've smashed that, keeping it within 7. Like, crazy good performances all round. Just some stats. So Shad Sanders threw for 371, 4 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and 1 specific throw that I'm going to post on socials today, i.e. Thursday. An insane throw to Amarion Miller for a touchdown. Like, people were talking about it. He was asked, Coach Prime was asked about it in the conference afterwards, and he was like, there's only 1 or 2 NFL players that can make that throw. Like, that was insane. He's thrown it into a window that just didn't exist. It was ridiculous. Like, there's full coverage from the DB. His arms are stretched across, and the ball has just gone past his fingertips into the receiver's hands, into Amarion Miller's hands. Like, it was ridiculous. I'm going to put it on socials, but it was nuts. But of course, Caleb Williams had a crazy day as well. He got 403 yards, 6 TDs. He threw a pick. He put up 48 points in the first 3 quarters. Like, that's pretty nuts. Now, but we know the Buffaloes team isn't that stacked. Like, they will get exposed, but they've put up 41 points against a pretty top USC team, who admittedly have their weaknesses on defense, but they got into a proper shootout with them and competed. It seems like when they come up against a stout defense that can cover them on the outside, they struggle. But if you come up against a defense that can't cover them on the outside and they can get some space to some of their star receivers, Weaver, for example, then they're in with a shout. Like, they can actually compete in these games, but they come up against a team like the Oregon Ducks and they're going to get blown out. The team that can actually stop them comfortably. But USC couldn't stop them. Like, 27 points in the first half is still a lot.
Didn't you back USC to go all the way this year?
I had USC to make the playoffs, yeah. But they've dropped back to ninth because they only beat Colorado by 7 in this game. So they're back from 8th to 9th now.
Wow.
And Colorado is still outside the top 25.
Another case of those crazy college rankings, which I just...
Yeah, well, surely you can't go up if you lose.
You can.
Or can you?
If you lose to a good team, yeah. If you lose to a good team, I think they must be really close. They must be like 27th, 28th or something like that, really close.
That's bad
Yeah.
that the USC win, but they go down, and Colorado lose, and yet they could go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kriski, but think about it, right? In college football, there is actually no parity. So for a team to beat another team doesn't necessarily, it shouldn't really count as like, okay, it's a win, therefore you go up. It shouldn't, because for example, Oregon Ducks beating Colorado, they beat them at like, was it 40 points?
It's 42 to 6.
Yeah. If you beat a team by 36 points, that either shows that team's not very good, right? That does mean that the team you beat is not that good, or you're just very, very good and you're just overpowering that other team, right? So technically, you shouldn't get that much. Like, for example, if Man City were to beat the team bottom of the league like Luton, okay, they get 3 points. But if there was a world where you got more than 3 points for a win, they shouldn't get more than 3 points, because Luton are terrible. Because theoretically Luton are terrible, right? You should only get the minimum for that win, because you're playing a team that's so inferior to you.
Yeah, I get it. It's
and
just
USC is so much better than Colorado. It shouldn't be a significant thing to beat them. And that's why you kind of have the playoff committee, because they're like, okay, you've won, but how good is that win really? Like, in the grand scheme of things. And
that's the bit I think I still just trying to get my head around, is that it goes down to a group of people which we have to just kind of trust that they're going to get their judgment right, whereas it doesn't come down to actually just a bit results business, and whether it's just our kind of way of doing things over here. But yeah, I think that's the only bit I'm like, you trust in that group of people where another 50, 60 people could have a completely different opinion. So yeah, that's the only bit. I get it. I get the logic, and I do justify, even if you win, if you've not won convincingly, then why should you go up? But
exactly,
yeah, it's just a bit of a weird way of doing it.
The thing is, the stuff is the 12-team playoff doesn't come until next year, and there's a lot of teams that are kind of there or thereabouts. Like, 12-team playoff this year would be crazy cool. Like, there's a lot of teams. Like, Georgia don't look that good. Like, Georgia look fine, but Georgia don't look like the same team they were last year. Like, you don't think Michigan could beat Georgia this year? Michigan could beat Georgia. Like, Ohio State look better than people thought. Like, they're third now? Notre Dame look good. Washington look crazy good as well. USC look great. Oregon obviously looking good as well. There's a lot of teams that could actually compete for a national championship. It's just it's just a shame it doesn't come until next year, but it's what it is. But yeah, that game was crazy cool to watch. I really enjoyed watching that game.
Well, clearly because celebs go, but sounds like there's more celebs there than the actual NFL games this week, which was interesting. But
still no chance.
Yeah.
Just on that, Colorado ranked 38th after week 6.
Really?
What week that was? Yeah, 38th.
38.
Yeah.
Damn, that's harsh.
Jeez,
that's harsh.
All right,
that might be going into week 6. I don't think they've updated the
That
rankings
must be
week 6.
going in.
It seems like they focus on the top 25, and then everyone else sort of comes afterwards.
Yeah, they only do top 25. Yeah, they only do. But they did get blown out by Oregon, to be fair. Like, they got blown out by 36 points by Oregon, so that'll damage you. But great game.
All right then, go on into the big league, into the NFL. What was your games of the week then, boys? Other than obviously the Jags Falcons, which was so superb as a Falcons fan.
So I guess I'll start, and for me it was Broncos versus Bears. So I actually predicted this would be the game of the week last week, and it actually proved to be a really good game. I mean, the Broncos were down 28-7 in the third quarter and managed to bring it back and win with a Lutz field goal. So yeah, it was an epic game. Sean Payton got his first win as the Broncos head coach, and you actually saw Russell Wilson cook for once in a Broncos uniform, which was nice to see. And I feel bad for Justin Fields.
Yeah, can I just lightly reframe that? Let's change cooking to just lightly searing, like, or just a gentle bake.
Wow. Okay, you're going to be that guy. Okay, cool.
I'm not saying he's cooked anyone.
Okay, fair enough. But Justin Fields, I feel bad for him, man. He actually played his best game of the season. He 80% completion percentage, 360 yards of total offense, 4 passing touchdowns. Like,
he looked really good.
Yeah,
he was really good until he didn't.
Yeah, if any quarterback does that in the game, you would expect that quarterback and his team to win. But then he gave up the fumble, which got returned by a touchdown and basically cost his team the game. So yeah, those were you saw the bad and good side of Justin Fields, unfortunately.
When I look back to my notes, I had a note saying, Justin Fields balling out 12 for 12, 2 passing touchdowns at one point. And then my notes sort of changed, and it's sort of like, oh.
Yeah, man. Was it on NFL Red Zone? What do they call the fourth quarter? The witching hour, where wins become losses and losses become wins. And,
wow.
and it's literally what
Chills.
happened. It's literally what happened to the Bears, man. They were going to get their first win of the season. He balled out, and then he gives up that fumble that gets scooped and scored for a touchdown.
Some weird ass Chicago curse on them. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So that was my game of the week.
Yeah, Bids, what you got?
I went for the Bills and Dolphins. I think that was my prediction for game of the week as well. And again, it's one of them. Ended 48-20 to the Bills. I think we also said it was going to be a shootout, and it definitely started as a shootout. First half ended 31-14 to the Bills.
Honestly, that first 3 minutes, or no, not 3 minutes, but quarter and a half was just ridiculous. Like, it was just everyone was just going back to back to back touchdowns until they got that Dolphins stop, and I was like, it was such an exciting start.
Also, I would slightly change the description of, instead of a shootout, I would just say just one guy shooting someone repeatedly. Like, for it to be a shootout,
for it tonight.
For it to be a shootout, the Dolphins have to actually, score points.
They scored some.
20 points. 20 points is not going to get it done, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm also a little bit bitter because I had Tyreek Hill in my fantasy team, and
he did
10 points.
3 catches. He was limited to.
That Bills secondary is good when everyone's healthy.
Yeah, it is.
They are still got
tough.
Miller to come back as well. And
the
defense is looking very good, I must say.
I'm telling you, Milano is a baller.
He's balling out, He's been a baller.
Yeah, they were missing Jordan Boyer as well. And he's still balling out on defense. And when Von Miller comes back,
they look dangerous. I think they'll still find a way to blow it. They do every single year. But yeah, they look good to get top seed.
Yeah, and Josh Allen as well just looked unstoppable yesterday. Like both
three touchdown passes.
Yeah, and Stephon Diggs was just
everywhere.
It was a very convincing performance all around, both sides of the ball for the Bills.
I can't lie.
Go on, Dami.
So go for a bit. What were you going to say?
The only negative is Tre'Davious White's injury, which seems like a big one. It's a potential Achilles tear, similar to Aaron Rodgers, which could roll him out for the rest of the season.
That's a problem.
Not good. It was non-contact, just one of them ones.
Yeah. It's not looking good, is it? It's not looking good. And
next man up. Bills still look good.
I think they'll be fine. But can we just talk about that Dolphins defense and how bad they looked?
Questionable at best, I think is probably an apt description. Like, it's a lot of points to concede.
Destroyed that corner.
Yeah.
Oh God, he
every time they went man on man, 1-on-1.
Yeah,
he got destroyed.
Yeah, now that's cooking someone.
That you can say he got cooked. Yeah.
All right.
Not a gentle seer. That's a cooking. That's a cooking.
Cooking. Yeah.
Yeah, and I need to find my definition of a shootout. Clearly, Ben just shot me down. There was shots fired in this game. I don't know what you want from me, man.
This guy's going to come back. He's on one today just because he got less than 60 points in his fantasy team.
It's not over yet.
The comeback's on.
Exactly. We're back. We'll be back. We'll be back. I'm just imagining next week you're going to come back with loads of cooking terms, Biz. You're going to be like, I'm going to flambe that. That's a flambe right there.
Oh God, please do.
Just come up with a crazy different name.
Ben game.
Obviously, Colorado was a great game. That Colorado USC game, I really enjoyed that Saturday night. Eagles Commanders. I'll talk about it later. I kind of screwed up the bet tip, but what a cool game! It really showed off. McLaurin balling out. Sam Howell actually looking good, looking dangerous. Like against people would generally describing this year as probably one of the best three teams. Like, yeah, definitely top three. Like the Commanders giving them some trouble. Like, yeah, eventually they lost, but damn, the Commanders look good. Like they're just dangerous. Love me some Scary Terry.
It's clearly Commanders may be a little bit of a bogey team because I think wasn't it last year that the Commanders were the ones that ruined their unbeaten run last year.
Yeah,
took them to the wire this year. Look, Commanders coming up. Yeah,
Commanders just seem to have the Eagles' number. Like that doesn't phase them at all playing that team. But no, I really enjoyed that game. McLaurin, love me some Scary Terry.
Ben, we've spoken about before in the past when it came to the Bengals versus the Ravens, right? Like divisional matchups, they tend to throw out tougher games than you would expect, apart from when the Giants are involved and they get destroyed by everyone. But besides
they do. Yeah, divisional matchups do often throw up weird results, like often close and just weird. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think it's people play tougher, or defensive coordinators throw out some weird stuff, weird looks. Offensive coordinators don't hold back. I don't know. They always get played close. Those games mean a lot. So yeah, people play tough in those games. But no, that was a great game. What did you like, Kriski?
So I went for the Colts Rams again. Another one that went to overtime. That kind of back. I think it was a good comeback from the Colts, but sadly Rams took it in overtime. Big old Puka Nacua coming up strong, and the Colts, they looked absolutely devastated, especially because it was that rule again where it was a touchdown first, so the Colts don't actually get a chance to respond, and they were just. But it was a cracking game, and Puka Nacua getting his first touchdown of the season. Awesome game, loved it.
Yeah, just to summarize quickly. Yeah, he looks crazy. He's getting targeted so much. Just to say, this week's slate of games was nuts. There are so many games we haven't talked about that were crazy. Like, just a couple others. San Francisco, that game was nuts. Like, Christian McCaffrey, that game was crazy. Dallas Cowboys against the Patriots, that game was nuts. The Chiefs game was crazy against the Jets. Like,
if it wasn't for that Zach Wilson fumble. They were on a good drive there as well.
Titans absolutely blowing out the Bengals. There were so many games to choose from this week. What an incredible slate of games. I'm loving the season so far. I think we said it in a couple episodes before, but there's been some great games.
There's just one's hard to pick, isn't it? Like you say, Bengals losing. There's just teams that just surprising you every single week, just not really turning up or getting big wins.
Is it that much of a surprise the Bengals not turning up again?
Yeah, they're getting smacked about.
That might have been a bad example.
Yeah, okay. They got smacked around by the Titans, though. The Titans don't smack around anyone.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
That was a surprising one. But yeah,
Tannehill is not a scary guy.
No, he's not. He's not that dude. I mean,
man, might as well put Derrick Henry at quarterback, man. He would probably do better.
Just to put that in perspective.
One passing touchdown.
Yeah, just a perspective on the Titans. They literally lost a week ago to the Browns 27-3, and they won against the Bengals 27-3. Like, that is a mess. Yeah. Bengals look like they're in some real trouble.
Yeah,
we kind of said they might have a bit of a resurgence, and they I guess they still could if Joe Burrow gets healthy and the offensive line starts clicking. But damn, there's a mess right now.
Yeah,
Derrick Henry's stats for the game are jokes. He got 22 carries for 122 yards, one of one passing attempt and one touchdown for 2 yards.
His passing attempt just doesn't look convincing as a throw.
He just jumped in
and dollies it up. He's not actually like an arm or a throw. Just like
he did a fadeaway, man.
Yeah. What about Keenan Allen's one last week? What did he end up getting? Like a 49-yard passing touchdown?
Yeah. Actually looks like a quarterback throwing it. This just looked like someone who said, "Yeet!" Just dashed it.
He read the defense though. He waited to get the pressure on. He threw it. Like it was smart. He waited to get pressure in his face. Waited for the tight end to leak. Yeah, it was smart. Good throw.
That brings us on nicely then, Bids. Moment of the week, boys. So more specific moments in the games. What we thinking? Let's start us off with Ben.
I think this leads on nicely from what I was saying. I mentioned the Chiefs game, but it was not that I like to see Patrick Mahomes have like bad games because he's so enjoyable to watch. But it is nice to see, like Dami said, a bit of parity, like just a little bit. Like it's nice to see someone like get in his face and actually cause him some problems. Like Patrick Mahomes throwing 2 picks, nearly giving the Jets the win after being up 17-0 in the first quarter. Zach Wilson didn't throw a pick. I enjoyed that. How does Patrick Mahomes throw 2 more picks than Zach Wilson in a game? Like, hilarious. Like, objectively funny. That's just objectively funny.
Similar story to Fields, though. Zach actually looked okay during the game. He was overseen until that last fumble. And then, it's a tough one to swallow for him, isn't it? But
it's a rough one. And I did add one other thing in my moment of the week that I really enjoyed as well, in the interest of fumbles. Number 1 pick, Bryce Young, fumbles the ball after running backwards, gets it stripped, and the Vikings run the length of the field. Well, they're like 67 yards away for a game-winning touchdown to win 23. What was it, 20-13 or something? Like 21-13. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, you're actually in this game. The Vikings are not that good, and you're just running away. Just get rid of the ball. God, I guess it nicked from him. Touchdown Vikings.
These rookie quarterbacks, man, they have to learn the hard way. I feel like
it's rough.
I'm not gonna lie. These fumbles lost and then being returned for touchdowns. I think they're the dumbest plays ever. They look so stupid when they look so stupid when the offensive lineman just rushes them and they don't have the ball properly secured, and then they just get knocked out of their hands, and then some huge like 300-pound guy just picks it up and runs it in. And you're like, what were you doing?
When they never pick it up cleanly as well. Like these big linemen as well. They try and pick it up, but then they stumble, then they drop it again. It's like it's just the ball, mate. Just pick it up, surely. It's not that hard. But
I've never understood.
It was tough to watch. He got absolutely obliterated as well. Like right at the end, he got hammered for it as well. But yeah, those are my moments of the week.
Yeah, Dami. Moment of the week, what you got?
So for me, it was actually at the NFL game we went to see at Wembley. I was watching. Nice. Let me get this right. Is it Darius Williams? He picked off Desmond Ridder and ran it in for a pick 6. and actually seeing that in real life was insane. Like
Yeah,
to
it
see
was cool.
because part of it was you could actually see it happening before it happened.
Yeah.
Like you could see
Yeah.
Desmond Ridder lining up, and you could see that
Slow
he was
motion.
just going to jump the route, and then as soon as he caught it, he was like, "There's no one catching this dude." And it was,
Yeah,
so
that was
it's
my
a good
point. Like you actually do see it building up. You can see the defender
Yeah.
actually reading the play. You actually see everything of him picking it off, and then
Yeah.
it's mad how much you can actually pick up while actually still being there. Yeah,
I thought, Dami, you were going to go for Kriski there and start digging out Desmond Ridder. I thought you were like, how do you say this this nobody's name? Desmond Ryder, right? Ridder.
I deserve that. I deserve that because that was the worst thing. That drive specifically, we actually were looking. Oh, we're finally putting a bit of a drive together. Then he goes and does that.
I know we're going to get you a Desmond Ridder jersey for your birthday.
Nah. Nope.
Problem solved.
Nope.
Sorted.
Did we see a single one yesterday?
I didn't actually see a
No.
Ridder jersey. A lot of Drake
See
Londons.
I saw Drake London.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of Bijan Robinsons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
some Matt Ryans as well.
Yeah, a lot of
Yes,
Pitts
Matt
as
Ryan.
well. A lot of Pitts who I think he
Yeah,
only got
Pitts
2
everywhere.
targets the whole of yesterday. So disappointing.
I didn't even know he played.
No. Quickly moving on from my Falcons. Bids, moment of the week.
My moment of the week is Khalil Mack's 6 sacks on rookie quarterback Aiden O'Connell. First game in the NFL. He's going to be a memorable one. 6 sacks?
Memorable. Surely he doesn't even remember that. 6. He must have...
Oh, everyone's going to remember it.
You got obliterated.
Yeah, it was rough. 7 sacks in total, 6 for one player. That's insane.
Yeah, he was not mentally prepared for the NFL, like the speed of the NFL. And clearly he hadn't got that number in his head. So I don't know if you know this, but like there's like a coaching tip for quarterbacks where it's like an internal clock and they normally say 2.5 seconds. And it's like if you're still holding the ball after 2.5 seconds, you're probably about to get sacked. And he did not have that internal clock. He held that ball entirely too long. Like the O-line tried their best, and admittedly they are bad, but wow, that was rough. Yeah, 6 sacks. I had, in my predictions at the start of the year, I had TJ Watt to be the sack leader. Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah.
Like, if he's going to get 6
anymore.
sacks in one game, TJ Watt's got, 4 so far this season? Just Khalil Mack immediately went to the top spot.
Best thing about that as well, he'll probably be on a sack bonus as well. So he's just got 6 sacks and he's probably just earned another couple of million quid as well, like just from getting one game.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Aiden O'Connell some money on the side. Helped him out.
Yeah, it's just like just run outside the pocket, but not quickly.
Yeah,
just hang out on the edge of the pocket.
Yeah,
that was cool.
That's my moment of the week.
All right, and I'll round us off then. So mine leads on to my game of the week, to be fair. So Puka Nakua's game-winning touchdown, I thought it was great. I didn't realise it was actually his first touchdown of the season. And then what made it a bit nicer was I actually saw his getting the game ball in the change rooms afterwards. That video is actually, excuse me for being a bit cheesy, very heartwarming. He was so excited to get the game ball, mate. He just launched across the changing room, hugged Sean McVay, and he was going nuts. He was like, got the game ball. And I was like, that's a rookie that just absolutely cares and is loving life right now. So yeah, that was my moment of the week for sure.
Nice.
Balling out.
Yeah. All right. Roles reversed then over to Dami and let's start picking out the guys who didn't have good weeks and who made the fix-up list this week. Dan, lead us.
Yeah. So there are three people on my list. 2 of them are teams. One of them is one guy. So we'll start with the team. So they've been on my fix-up list. I think it's 3 out of the 4 weeks now, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals. God damn, they suck. They suck so bad right now. I don't know if you guys saw the video from the locker room where they were interviewing Jamar Chase, and I can't say the word he says in the middle, but he says basically, "I'm always open." You can guess what he said.
Oh, wow!
And he's clearly saying that whatever the play calls are, whatever's happening, he's not getting the ball enough. And it doesn't surprise you that in the game they won, he got the most targets and the most receptions. So he's basically saying they're not getting the ball to me. I mean, the person throwing you the ball is your LSU teammate Joe Burrow. So if he's not getting the ball, it's either on him, and if he can't get you the ball because he's injured, he should not be out there. It looks like he's just not fit. He shouldn't be out there. They should not be playing him. So this is kind of also aimed at the head coach and the front office. If the guy's not fit, you might as well punt on the season now, because you're not making it to the wild card round at this rate. You guys can't even get offense against the Titans. Like we said earlier, no one gives up 27 points to the Titans. Like, the Titans are just not that sort of team. And also, you only had 211 yards of total offense in the game. That is pretty bad. That is pretty bad. And we're now going
Somehow that's more than I thought they were going to have as well. Somehow that's more than I thought. As I was like, wow, 211, actually, like, they've done better than I thought.
Yeah, but that's not good at any level.
No, that's embarrassing.
That's not good, even at high school level. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, and
who have they got next week?
I'm going to ask you honestly, guys. Do you guys think they're going to beat the Cardinals next week?
Oh, is that who they've got? Oh, wow.
Yeah, they will.
Nah, I don't think so.
You know
the
what?
Cardinals are better than people expected.
Yeah, the Cardinals who beat the Cowboys, and then they looked like did all right against the 49ers, who was obviously a very convincing team. But yeah, you get the Bengals again on a missed week. Yeah, I wouldn't write it off.
Yeah, let's just say in my prediction, my personal prediction, I am not predicting them to beat the Cardinals.
Okay,
they're favored. The Bengals are favored by 3 points.
Yeah, it's a violation.
And it's in Arizona.
Yeah, I don't know what the bookies are seeing there.
That's going on the tips, because that's jeez. Yeah.
So yeah, the first on my fix-up list is the Bengals, because they've been awful. Next up, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got blown out by the Texans again. No one gets blown up by the Texans. Like, you only put up 6 points. You didn't even score a touchdown. So, like, just to put this in perspective, right? So the Texans, in their first 3 games of the season, they've averaged giving up 31 points a game on defense and 3 touchdowns a game. Pittsburgh Steelers didn't score 1 touchdown.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
It was 2 field goals.
That's horrible.
It's so bad. And I also saw a stat that they haven't had over 400 yards of offense since Matt Canada came in as the offensive coordinator in 2021.
Yeah, that guy's losing his job in the off season.
Yeah, I mean, he might lose it during the season, to be honest. Because I think part of the reason is Kenny Pickett is not that guy. But they do
surprising, because a lot of people did tip him to be decent this year. Actually, surprising for you, but
you would have thought. So I think I predicted him to be quite good. His second year in the team as a starter. He has George Pickens, he has Najee Harris, Pat Fryermuth. I know Vince loves that guy. So, and for Kenny Pickett to look as bad as he does, he ended up getting injured in the game yesterday. So
he went down, didn't he?
Yeah, it didn't look good.
Yeah, we'll have to see if it's a really bad knee injury that puts him out. But yeah, it's not looking good for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, I think they're 2-2 or 1-3. I'm not.
Yeah, they are.
2-2. So to be fair, they're not doing badly. They're above the Bengals in the division, so it could be worse. But and also giving up 30 points to the Texans.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the Texans had backup offensive linemen. And
third string offensive lineman as well.
Yeah. And TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith didn't get a sack between them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that messed up your betting tips, Ben. So.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was one of the reasons. We'll get into it later, but that didn't help.
Yeah, so yeah, it
One
wasn't.
lose.
It was not a good week for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they need to fix up.
Jeez.
They need to fix up. And then lastly, on my list, unfortunately, is McCorkle Jones. He stunk the place
Full
out.
first name. Wow.
Yeah. It's got to be the full first name in this one. The pick six was horrible. The fumble, which resulted in a scoop and score, that was horrible. And the fact he got benched in the third quarter was all you needed to know. Yeah, it was a really bad. And he got benched for Bailey Zappi. We have to remember Bailey Zappi was actually was he released? He was released before the season started and then signed back up to the practice squad. So that shows you how much they believed in Bailey Zappi, and they were like, "Do you know what? Might as well just bring him on." Like, there's literally no point of Mac Jones still being
Couldn't
out
be
there.
any worse.
Yeah, it could literally couldn't be any worse.
Tough.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think for a lot of us, we kind of blamed Matt Patricia last year as the offensive coordinator because we were like, this guy is not an offensive coordinator. He has no idea what he's doing. They'll bring in Bill O'Brien, and then that will significantly improve him. And to be honest, in the first couple of games, he did look better. I mean, they still weren't winning games, but he looked slightly better. But in this game against the Cowboys, yes, we get it. The Cowboys have an incredible defense, but to look as bad as you did, that's not just on the Cowboys defense. That's on you. That's because you're just not very good. And because he lacks athleticism, he needs to be good in the pocket. He needs to not be making mistakes, or else there's literally no point of him being there. Because he's not gonna win with his legs. He's not gonna do some Patrick Mahomes out of the pocket, throw 40-yard passes over the defense. He's literally going to stand in the pocket and make some plays, make some screen passes, make some passes to the slant routes. Like, you need him not to make mistakes, and if he's not doing that, then he's utterly useless.
Yeah,
and that's what proved yesterday by only putting up 3 points. So yeah.
We'll get into it a little bit later, but I the only thing I'll say is the Cowboys do seem to beat up on weaker teams. Like, they'll beat up on weaker teams, but when it comes to a real opponent, they don't look quite the same. Like, we'll get into it a little bit later, but the Patriots were poor, and Mac Jones did get beaten up a little bit, and he did deserve to get benched. But the other thing I'll say is, like, that Cowboys team is clearly just better than the Patriots. They're not that much better, but they are better. And he just got beaten up. Like, it's a better team, better roster overall. Like, what's he supposed to do? Who's he throwing to, right? Like, he's got Parker, he's got Kendrick Bourne, he's got Hunter Henry. Like, these are fine options, but they're not great options. The offensive line is never going to hold up against Micah Parsons and that D line from Dallas. Like, as soon as you lose one and you start having to throw a lot more, or lose a touchdown or two, it just becomes an insurmountable task, particularly if you're not that team that's built to come back. So, I don't disagree with you. I just think it's just a mismatch. Mac will come back. He'll be fine.
Yeah, it did prove to be a mismatch, but we'll see if he comes back. But those are my 3 picks.
This is motivational as well. People hear us. Like, people listen to us. Like, we're getting some changes. Like, every time we put someone on the fix-up list, there's results. Like,
very
people bring it back.
Except for the Bengals. They've been on here.
They're doing that's true. That's true. Yeah, it's because no one can save them. But the Bears have been on there. Look at the Bears. Bears were leading by 21. Like, they screwed up at the end, but still, they were there.
Baby steps. It's not going to happen overnight. But anything else? Anything to add on the fix-up list today, boys? Bids, Ben?
So just talking about the Bears, they are going to go back on here, but not the whole Bears organization. Not the whole Bears organization. I will say that Justin Fields played well, and they got some talented players. I like Cole Kmet, the tight end. I think he's quite good. Mm-hmm. DJ Moore is obviously talented. I like Darnell Mooney. I've always thought he was a fairly serviceable number two wide receiver. But But Matt Eberflus, how are you giving up a 21-point lead against, like, I don't understand how you're doing that, like, so easily as well. That you were putting up points in the first half, like, you just seem to accept that you were like, well, we've got the win now. So no, you don't. Like, really strange. So for me, Matt Eberflus is probably going to get fired, even if he makes it to the end of the season, which I'm not even sure he will. But yeah, he needs to fix up quickly, otherwise he's going to lose that job before Christmas.
Fair. Straight to the point. Fair enough. I've got two. One we've mentioned a lot in this episode already, being Desmond Ridder. Again, just seeing him in the flesh and seeing how poor he was, his poor pocket intelligence. I went 19 for 31, one fumble, back-to-back picks, first one being a pick six. Yeah, it wasn't good at all.
Yeah.
At all.
No.
Hard to watch live as well.
It was particularly bad. Just disappointing.
Yeah, and his backup is Taylor Heineke. Is there potential for him to come into the game in week 6?
I was surprised. They didn't towards the end actually just throw him in and just see. Yeah, but
Taylor Heineke is better than Desmond Ridder.
Clearly,
he's a lot better than Desmond Ridder.
Yeah,
I promise you.
Will we see him next week?
I don't know if we'll see it. I don't know if they're dropping that easily yet, but he definitely come. If it carries on like this, they'll come in during the season 100%.
Yeah, not after
that season.
Yeah, not after a game in London. I think they'll ride with Ridder for a little bit longer. Like, after a game in London, you can easily explain that away. Like, you were traveling to London, like, it's a tough environment. Like, yeah, you can explain that away. They'll give him at least a few more games, I reckon.
Yeah,
fair enough.
But the only thing is they can't afford to give games away because, to be honest, the NFC South is not that strong this year, and if they can't be wasting games because realistically they could make it as a top seed. They can make it as a top seed from their division, so they wouldn't want to waste games. So he's going to have a short leash. He might get another game if he messes up again. Don't be surprised if he's out of the team and you've got Heineke in play.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think that division's so open. I think the Bucks are just taking it at the moment. But yeah, you could definitely sneak into the playoffs through that division 100%. It's not out the pole, out of the range of possibilities, whatever that.
Rounds? Yeah, we got there in the end.
Rounds possibility. Yep, got it.
All right,
sweet.
I'll go into my next one. My next one is Jerry Tillery for his late hit on Justin Herbert, which is again just brainless. Ex-Chargers player as well, ejected from the game, just brain dead. I don't get it. It was obvious.
That was a cheat.
Obvious flag, ejection. Yeah. Clearly got some bad blood.
Yeah, that was weird. Anyone else think the eject?
Yeah, sorry, go for it, Ben.
Go ahead, Dami. I was just going to say, anyone else think that ejection was harsh?
I thought it was harsh. I've seen late
hits
hits before. I've seen quarterbacks have been hit out of bounds and they've just given a flag like 15-yard penalty or whatever, and then that's it. To actually eject him, I was a bit surprised by that too. Maybe it was his lack of remorse.
It keeps happening though, doesn't it? And then maybe it's what?
Maybe it was his lack of remorse because he didn't seem like he cared at all that he gave up that penalty.
But those late hits happen all the time. Unless they get punished properly, then they're just going to keep happening. You could keep hurting quarterbacks. It's just targeting as well. Like it's
premeditated and just
But the thing is that's weird for me. He didn't lead with his helmet. Like, it was a late hit. It wasn't dangerous. Didn't lead with his helmet. He hit him late. Like, he's hit him high. He didn't lead with his helmet. It wasn't dangerous. It was just late. And it was just a bit harsh.
Think it is dangerous because as you're running off the pitch, you know that you don't feel like you're about to get hit because you're out of bounds, and then some big clown runs into you at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, as I say, I don't necessarily disagree that those should be ejection worthy or conversations every time they happen, but in the wider context of late hits, it's like, that seems no worse than any other standard late hit that I've seen. Why was that one an ejection versus other ones that I've seen? I was like, that didn't look... I mean, he clearly didn't have remorse. He kind of jogged off away, smiling. Like, but like, and the whole sideline kicked off and started like shoving him and all that kind of stuff, and it turned into like a bit of a shoving match. But I was like, he didn't leave his helmet, wasn't dangerous, didn't cause any like massive damage to him. It wasn't like he was like laid out and the refs are like, okay, we might have to eject him here because there's going to be some retribution here. Because but that's what I mean. Like, but I don't know what triggered that decision. It just seemed weird for me versus the kind of standard that the league has for it. But I don't necessarily disagree.
What is the actual rule? Is there a specific rule for ejection in those sort of in that situation?
There's normally like danger to the player, or there's normally like extenuating circumstances beyond just a late hit. If it's a late hit, like out of bounds, they normally just flag it, and they normally give it like an unsportsmanlike conduct, and 15-yard penalty, and then they normally just give you one other shot, and if you do anything else silly, they might well eject you. But I've not seen ones like that, given as ejections that quickly for something that really didn't seem that bad. Like, obviously he's hit him late and it probably wasn't nice, but it's professional sports. This is professional sports. It wasn't like he had a foot out of bounds and his second foot was coming down. He had one foot, it touched, and within half a second he's getting hit. He hadn't got both feet out of bounds or anything. Like, I just didn't really see what the kind of big reason was for it. But I mean, obviously it wasn't nice, and clearly he was cool with it. He was like, I'm gonna hit him here. It was a cheap shot, but yeah. Anyway, just my opinion.
Yeah, because normally, like when you see those sort of fouls given, it's because like the contact has been initiated in bounds and then it continues out of bounds, and it's like, and the referees are like, you should have let go as soon as you realize you were out of bounds. But that sometimes players in the heat of the moment, they don't let go until they're way out of bounds. But it seemed that he just hit him out of bounds, like there was no contact before then. So then they must have been like, okay, now he meant to do that. That was a cheap shot. Yeah, let's get him out of the game. Yeah.
Didn't slow down at all as well. He just carried on.
No, he didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my second one.
Well, thankfully, Justin Herbert didn't get injured, which, but thankfully...
He did plan to injure himself later on, but minor.
I mean, lead us on to the injury segment then, Bids. What you got for us this week?
There was quite a lot of in-game injuries, so I'll mainly focus on them. We mentioned Tre'Davious White's Achilles injury from the Bills earlier on. Looks like it's a torn Achilles, which takes him out for the rest of the season, which is pretty peak. Javonte Williams from the Bears looks like he's got a sort of hip or groin injury. It's not been fully diagnosed yet, but
Broncos.
But yeah, sorry.
Broncos, Javonte Williams.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, Broncos. Thank you.
No, you're good.
So it doesn't look like he's going to miss much game time, but so it should be fine. Just mentioned Justin Herbert's finger injury, as from his non-throwing hand finger injury. He had sort of like a splint and a bandage over it, but I think he just said his finger got caught in someone's helmet or something, so he should be fine. Kenny Pickett was another relatively big one, who came off and was ruled out for the whole game. A knee injury, so that could be anything. It could be a sprain, it could be a tear. So we'll see what happens there after his MRI. Couple hamstring injuries. Mike Williams, who came off to return to the game. That one seemed relatively minor because he was seen cycling on the sidelines after his injury. So the hope is that he's all right in a few weeks. And Pat Frymuth gets injured again. Another hamstring this time. 3-4 weeks, probably a bit more significant than the Evans injury. And the final two are Devontae Adams, shoulder injury, but he returned to the game, so it's thought that he got some sort of injection and came back into it, but hopefully there's no lasting damage. And Micah Parsons similarly had a mid-ankle sprain, but also returned to the game, so he was clearly all right, and hopefully those injuries aren't lasting.
Yeah, that Mike Evans one looked like it might have been worse. I was like, ooh, that could be a big change in that South division. So if Mike Evans is out, that could change things, but it looked like he was all right.
Not just the South, my fantasy team as well. He's been massive so far.
No one cares about that Brock and roll.
Hey.
What's your current record, by the way, Kriski?
Pardon? My record, 2-2 now, mate. So watch this space.
Jokes.
My bits.
4-0, baby. 4-0.
The thing is, I was like, wait, how's Bids 4-0? Then I checked his team. I was like, oh, that's why he's 4-0.
Yeah. It pays to get the number one pick, mate. I tell you.
I was stressed on draft day because getting number one pick, I knew I had Jefferson. Then I had to wait 500 picks to get my next 2 picks. But yeah, it worked out in the end. We'll see.
At least you're not our friend Alex, who I think Alex was the only one that actually did a fantasy league before us. And
Ben's done one before as well, but it's not looking good for him.
It's been like 8 years since I did it, to be fair. But
okay.
Yeah, he's done it in recent times, and he didn't draft very well.
I feel like he's
getting the waivers every time. Like he had A-Chain on his bench.
I feel like he went for like one of those. He went for like those hipster picks. Those picks where like, they might come good in like week 2 or week 3 and be amazing, and then he's actually realized, nah, just get the bell cow from your team and hope for the best.
Yeah, and he went for picks like Jonathan Taylor as well, like thinking, I'll wait 4 weeks, but 4 weeks in, you're 0-4.
Yeah, 0-4 now. It's a long road ahead for him, mate. Long road ahead. But looking into next week then, boys, what we feeling as the game of the week? A couple of the guys, you did predict well, so I'm expecting another good predictions this week. So what you got? Dami, take us away.
So I think I speak for, from the look of the notes, I speak for 3 of us. When I say
all of us.
Yeah. The 49ers versus the Cowboys, right? I mean, like you can't look past that game. You're gonna see Purdy up against that Cowboys defense, and we're gonna see, can he actually ball out when he's not leading by 20? How does he look? We're gonna see if McCaffrey can run through Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. That should be fun to watch. We're gonna see Brandon Ayuk against that secondary. It's gonna be such a good game. And also, how will Dak look as well when he plays against a team that don't give away turnovers? Because the 49ers lead the league in the least amount of turnovers. So how are the Cowboys offense going to look? Because they haven't looked good in the last 4 games, even though they're 3-1, they haven't looked good. I don't know what you guys think about the game as well.
I think you're spot on. I think, like we said before, that like it's mainly the defense that's pulling the Cowboys through that and making them look so oppressive. So it's going to be great to see, one, their defense is actually coming up against a very good offense and, an absolute incredible quarterback in Brock.
I knew it was coming.
Wow.
Hey, all I'm saying is
if
he gets past this defense, do you say that he is top tier now?
Well, I don't know about top tier, but I don't know about top tier.
No.
What do you mean by top tier?
Yeah.
Right. What do you mean? Would I take him over Desmond Ridder? Yeah. Would I take any of the other top 16 quarterbacks instead of him? Yes, absolutely. But I will say,
top 15?
I don't know if he's even top 15. He may be top 15. Do you know, he did make? I was watching closely because I've had criticism levied at me that Brock Purdy's amazing, but I was watching it, and he's made some really nice throws, and he's looked so relaxed as well. Now, I will attribute some of that to playing on probably the most stacked roster in the league. Like, that will have a level of comfort for you when you've got a good offensive line, the best running back in the league. You've just got options all over the place. Like, you will get comfortable quite quickly. Like, situations matter. Like, the team you're on matters. Like, I don't know if he's that good, but I've seen him throw some nice passes. We'll see what happens if he can actually make a playoff run. If he has to play well, let's put him up against some good teams. Let's put him in the playoffs, and let's see if he can actually turn it on when he needs to. I don't think he's top 10, but he could easily be. But I don't think I've seen enough, or he's not been under duress, or what happens when they get a lot of injuries and he's expected to actually carry them. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's going to be a very good matchup, which I'm very excited for this game. I think considering we've all picked it, so who are we going for? Seeing as we've all kind of put attention to this one, and then we'll talk through a couple of other games. But who are you going for this week? Who do you back to come out on top?
49ers.
Yeah, 49ers. Like I said before, I think the Broncos, the Cowboys have beaten up on weaker teams. I don't think the 49ers have done that. The 49ers have played a resurgent Rams team. Yes, they've played the Giants. Ignore that. But they've played another. Come on, man. That's basically a bye. But I'm
Wow.
But like the Cardinals, people were talking about how well the Cardinals have been playing, like resurgent Cardinals team who actually beat the Cowboys the previous week, like put them through a tough game, beat them 28-16. 49ers played the Cardinals, and guess what? They beat them by 19. It's like, I don't know. I don't think you could look at it like that. You play the same team 2 weeks in a row, things look different. But I mean, there couldn't be a better measure than literally that. But I think the 49ers probably take it relatively comfortably in the end. I think I've got them winning by like 10 points in my prediction. I think the Cowboys just look better than they actually are. They beat up on weaker teams. The defense looks great, but it's like I think good comp for college football was Oregon, right? When Oregon absolutely decimated the Buffaloes. Like, wow, that Oregon team's great. No, they just played a team that maybe doesn't have the ability to hang with them. Like, you play a team that can hang with you, and then all of a sudden Oregon don't look like the best team in the country. Put them up against Georgia. Put them up against Ohio State, Michigan. Like, it looks different. It's not so easy. You're not going to get strip sacks. You're not going to get pick sixes. It's just not going to happen. So,
yeah.
What do you reckon?
I think the 49ers take it. I think, like you said, I think that Cowboys defense will cause them some issues, but I don't think that Cowboys offense really outscores them, because I think the 49ers defense will be too big. But it's going to be one hell of a game. I can't wait. But any other games next week kind of take your fancy? I know that's going to be the highlight one we're all tuning into. Any others?
Yeah, I had a look because everyone else had picked 49ers and Cowboys. But I don't know. I like the look of the Chiefs and Vikings. Chiefs have turned it around from their sort of ropey first game loss. And Vikings have just got their first win of the season. So we'll see. Anything can happen. Kirk's got to improve. Performances in the red zone just have to improve. Did, I guess, in this week. So we'll see. He's got to put on a show. Because if they go 1-4, then it's kind of a wrap for them.
Yeah,
it looked quite close this week, didn't it? Like going actual 0-4, and I was like, oh god, but they actually pulled it back. But I think you're right. I think if they start actually getting it correct in the red zone, and they actually don't make these mistakes and these picks and these turnovers, then they actually could put up a good 30-40 points. Like they do look like they can do it. It's just too many mistakes, man.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with the Vikings, all their games so far have been one-score games, so they are keeping it close. No matter how much their defense is giving up or how many turnovers they're having, they're still keeping the games quite close. And the Chiefs last night didn't look great against the Jets. I know the Jets actually have a really good defense, but they didn't look good against the Jets, especially their wide receivers. I think if you look at the box score from last night's game, I think the wide receivers only accounted for 65 of the passing yards.
Really?
He mostly threw to Noah Gray and Travis Kelce, which clearly means that either the wide receivers are not getting open, or they're dropping catches, or he just doesn't trust them enough to throw to them at the moment.
The trust is definitely gone.
Yeah,
after that first game, the trust is gone.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Vince. And it's not looking good, especially when you have the Bills, where they are just unbelievable right now. And the Dolphins, they had an off game yesterday, but the Dolphins are still amazing. So it's looking like Chiefs are really like ranked third in the conference right now, and that's purely because they just don't have the wide receiver threats.
The only other thing I would say is this is what the Chiefs do. Like, they're not going to show you much in the regular season. They'll take risks. They'll lose a game or two here or there. They'll figure out their wide receivers. But this is the mentality of a winning franchise and a winning team. They don't really care what their regular season record is. Like, yeah, they're not going to risk losing like more than like 4 games. But if they lose 4 games, they'll be like, okay, no stress. They're not fussed who they play when they get through. They're trying to win championships, so they will strategically make sure they've got the right wide receivers out there. They'll take risks. They'll risk it close with the Jets. Now, they're not trying to lose games, but it just looks like they're like, yeah, we'll figure it out with our wide receivers. We're not overly fast. And it just speaks to a different mentality than almost any other team has. They're like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll figure out the wide receivers later. They'll figure it out throughout the season, and then they'll suddenly come good. Would it surprise you, right, if Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney just started balling out after week like 10, 12, and just started getting like touchdown passes, started balling out, Chiefs start winning games instead of like by like 5 or 10, they start winning games by 15, 20, start looking comfortable. Wouldn't surprise anybody, would it? Because Mahomes is that guy. And that Jets defense is no joke. They are good defensively. They just can't put up much on the offensive end. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs are almost toying with people. They're just figuring it out as they go. They're not that fast. They're trying to win championships. That's what it looks like to me anyway.
But at some point, right, you have to admit that, okay, yes, they've done that. And they've been doing that for years. And especially last year when their number 1 wide receiver was Juju Smith-Schuster, who's never been anyone's number 1 wide receiver. But at some point, you have to say, okay, we need to find a wide receiver here, and we need to find him quickly. Because, yes, Travis Kelce is one of the best catching options in the league, but we can't rely on him on every down. Like, at some point, something has to, someone needs to step up, and especially in these close games, right? Because now it looks like the Bills, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, they're the top 3. I mean, the Ravens look good as well now, so it could be very tight for that number 1 spot at the Arrowhead Invitational, right? So,
yeah, no, I completely agree. But yeah, all right. Any other games, guys? Bids? Any couple of other predictions just to fly through for next week?
I'll go for the another London game, Bills and Jags. I think the Bills will win pretty comfortably. I think they are performing the highest, both offense and defense, and Jags are sort of stumbling along. Yes, Lawrence played well, but wasn't against a very good team in the Falcons. So I think that'll be an interesting game. Could be a high-scoring one that we should have seen, but time. And then we mentioned the Vikings and Chiefs. I think I think it's going to be close, but I think the Chiefs will win. Ben, you mentioned that the Chiefs just they trial things, they need to test things. They'll see how it goes, but they will inevitably win the game. And then the 49ers and Cowboys again. I don't think it's going to be a very close game score-wise. I think it might look like it on the field, but I think it's going to be a 2+ score game over the 49ers winning it.
Okay, so wait, is that because you think the 49ers are just that significantly better than the Cowboys, or do you think that Dak Prescott and that offense is just not going to show up?
I think the offense isn't going to show up, so the defense is going to be on the field for majority of the game, and it's just going to be rough to hang in there.
I mean, I'm not saying this with like stats like in my head or like with stats in front of me, but I think that the 49ers have a better running game than the Cowboys, right? Especially with Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel sometimes running in, and so think about time possession. It is likely that they will have more time of possession, and so okay, fair enough. I agree with you that 49ers are going to win, maybe not by 2 scores, but yeah.
We shall see.
I think
all the other games are sort of decent matchups. I don't think there's any other ones that sort of jump out there. Eagles and Rams potentially, but I haven't had a chance to look into my sort of early predictions for that. But so I'll leave it at those 3.
Nice.
I think the Bengals and Cardinals could be a good game.
Yeah.
I think that's a game that the Bengals need to have.
Oh, I thought you meant like a good game for Josh Dobbs to just start airing it out to whichever wide receiver he feels like.
Wow.
Just whoever happens to be within his eye line is fine. Anyone will do.
I mean,
you want to add to that?
I mean,
you got some feelings there.
Man,
You lose
all I can
27-3
say is
to the Titans? To the Titans?
yeah.
Did you hear the tease? The Titans. I know the Titans have got a good run defense, but they have zero air defense, like aerial defense. That secondary is ropey. You couldn't throw anything. What's going on? Yeah, that O line is not getting the job done.
Yeah. Good thing they paid Orlando Brown $80 million.
All right, then. Let's go on, Ben. Back to you, then, mate. Let's hear about how we got on Ben's bankers last week and what any little tips early for next week at all.
Yeah, so we lost our 11-1 last Thursday. Amon-Ra St. Brown let us down. He got 5 catches, needed to get him 6 for our 11-1. The rest of it came in, so very, very close on that one. And our Sunday tips, I think TJ Watt didn't get his sack, which was surprising. He came really close a couple of times, but he didn't get home. But the biggest problem for it, really, the one that let us down the most, was Eagles game didn't go as I expected it to. So I thought they'd go up big early and they'd run the ball a lot. Kenneth Gainwell getting the ball, Swift getting the ball a lot. I thought they'd put up a lot of yards. But the Commanders went up and kept it close after that, and it ended up being a bit of a shootout. So not much from a rushing standpoint for the Eagles. Like, there were some yards, but we missed out. I think Swift finished up with like 55 or something like that, and Gainwell finished up with like 20, 25. So weren't that far off, but still not close enough to get the W on that one. But we go again. I'll put some more tips up for the Thursday games. The Thursday game, those will be up now by the time this goes out. But I do like the Cardinals versus the Bengals, like to win by a couple of touchdowns. I think you'll get like 7-1 on them to win by 14 or 13.5 minus 13.5. And I don't know. I'm not sure about that Bengals team. So yeah.
All right.
But as always, it'll be up on socials, and then the Sunday stuff will be up on Saturday as normal.
Nice. Perfect. Well, any more thoughts, boys? Any more comments of the week just gone or a week coming ahead? Anything to take us home?
No, I'm just looking forward to another game week. I feel like every game week we've seen a ridiculous game where like an upset that we just didn't see coming. Hopefully some of the teams actually listen to my fix up list this week and fix up. But,
hey, they've been listening so far.
Apart from
you never know.
Bengals.
Yeah, but the Bengals can't hear anything, man. But you said earlier in our pre-chat about it being bye week, first set of bye weeks.
Yeah, the first set of bye weeks. So yeah, there's only 14 games this week instead of 16. So some teams effectively just get the week off, get to rest, get some players back to recover, and hopefully be back for week 6. I don't actually know the list of the teams that are off this week.
It's the Browns, Chargers, Bucks, Seahawks.
Okay.
It's a nice week
That's
off.
my fantasy team.
Yeah. Geez, thank you for the heads up on that.
I've just got a Seahawks player.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you should be all right. Sub it up someone. On
Perfect time. Yeah, perfect time for Mike Evans to just rest up that hamstring and then come back flying in week 6. So awesome news.
Thank you very much. It is. Yeah. Kriski goes 3-2. Buzzing. All right, and boys. Well, I think that does us for today. And yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Catch you guys in the next one.